good. All right, so what we're going to talk about is, and this is interesting because a lot of times when I talk about like how to become well-known and to become very, very famous, people think that it's all very tactical stuff that you're going out and you're just pitching and selling yourself. What we have found over a lot of experience is that it's a lot more than that. And there are some things that you can do today. I mean, literally within the next 30 minutes that are going to completely change the trajectory of your business. Does that sound cool? So this is very much like a live workshop. So get ready to set lots of action items. Okay, so here's what we're going to talk about. How to grow your business with big media exposure. I'm not going to get into tactical stuff as in what to say to the media because that's going to be discussed later today. Listen, this is the ultimate event for you to be in if you want to grow your exposure. Number 2, how and why to grow your authority and influence. Number 3, the first steps you need to do to get started today. Number 4, where to find the best media contacts and influencers and how to connect. Number 5, don't commit the cardinal sin with any influencer or media. Number 6, how to work with anyone you like. And we're going to close by talking about what the number 1 job of an entrepreneur is. Does that sound good? It's a good bill of goods. But that means I'm expected to deliver on this. Now, here's how we work together in this thing. So I've got, who uses Twitter? Anyone? Okay, good. All right, so if you're on the Twitter, I'm on the Twitter. Here's how we're going to do something really, really good together. The Twitter. So what I'd love for you to do is see our hashtag right there. I'm sure you've been using that past couple days. So if I say something today and you think, that was pretty insightful. That was actually a good point. So what I want you to do is go ahead and tweet it. And make sure you use our hashtag. And at the end of it, make sure you tag me. And if you do that, so I've got about 41,000 followers on Twitter, I will then retweet you to all my friends and tweeps on the Twitter. And generally, I can get you about every time I do that, I get you about 100 or so new followers. It's like magic. All right, so that's our win-win here. And the more you enter, the more you win. So, all right, so who am I? Why am I qualified to talk about this? So my other company, savingsangel.com, we've done about $6 million in revenue over the past 11 years, and we have spent less than, this is something you want to write down as in, oh my gosh, no way, we have spent less than $500 in advertising. We don't advertise. Now, I'm sorry to you marketers, but our approach was because I had no money at the beginning. And so, however, I was a journalist in the United States Navy. Any journalist or any Navy milspouses or other veterans? Yes, I see Navy. All right, I knew you were here. Like when they asked all of us to clap for like our branch of service, like I was the only Navy person that like said anything. I'm like, what? I know there's more than one of us in the world. And so, again, at the beginning, I had no money, and so I used my journalist background, and I just started reaching out to local radio, local TV, local newspapers, and I said, look, I'd love to produce content with you. And enough of them said yes, that it turned into great exposure for Savings Angel. Now, my approach to that, and we'll talk about this a little bit, is that when I go and I do media, I don't do a lot of selling. In fact, I do none. What I focused on is providing immense value. And this is going to be a theme that you are going to hear me reference many times in this presentation. Because if you love serving people, this is a good tweet, get ready. If you love serving people, entrepreneurship is going to be pretty easy for you. Because if you love bringing value to people, people are going to love doing business with you. If you wake up and the first thought in your mind is, oh boy, who am I going to sell to? It's tough. Business is tough. I should probably use a stage since they gave me one. If you wake up in the morning and, again, your whole thought is, who can I sell to? It's stressful. It kind of sucks building a business that way. So again, when your mind is in service, then don't worry, the money will take care of itself. Sometimes it takes a little while, so you gotta be patient, but please, just continue to do the deal. So, all told, I've been in the media over 2,000 times now, so Savings Angel, as a result, we've had some pretty good success with that. And so, I started helping do a lot of pro bono work in our local startup community, kind of just showing the ropes of what we were doing, and they started having success with it, and so we just kind of continued on. But so here's my syndicated newspaper column, blah, blah, blah. I've been doing this. This is 9 newspapers, 1.1 million readers. I do TV in 75 markets. It's a great way to build a business because I just get to wake up and bring value to people. So in Orlando, I'm like the local consumer guy, and that's all we do in terms of promotion for Savings Angel. All right, so what I want to talk about is, why are you doing what you're doing? Is it your mission? Are you doing what you're doing because you want to make a lot of money? That's great. I'm very pro-capitalist. I think that that's a great reason to build a business. Are you doing it to become famous? Well, only you know what that is. And I'd really like you, if you really haven't pondered that in a little while, like maybe on your airplane ride home, I want you to write a note and put an asterisk and ask yourself the question, why am I doing what I'm doing? And get really, really clear about that. Because one thing I can tell you is that if you are doing what you're doing, but you don't know why you're doing, sometimes a confused mind doesn't do the right stuff. And so I want to make sure you're doing the right stuff, because in business, stagnancy, it kind of sucks. Would you agree? Like if you've ever been in that phase of business, like, okay, we're not growing, we're not dying here, but we're not going anywhere. Like I hate that feeling. And I don't want that for any of you. All right, so Gerald, anybody know what movie this is from? Finding Dory. All right, Gerald is my spirit animal. All right. And I don't know if you ever have the desire to have maybe people of high influence people, maybe YouTube celebrities, social media rock stars, maybe the media. Like, wouldn't it be great if Oprah put you in her favorite things? Like, we all want that, right? Why? It's because we know that an influencer who really loves your product can wave their magic wand and they can do amazing stuff for you overnight. They really can. They really, really can. And so that's why we kind of aspire that. So maybe you go to an event and you're like, oh my gosh, there's that one person I've been wanting to talk with. I know that maybe if we could do something together, it would be really, really great for my business. And so now in the movie Finding Dory, Gerald, who is the goofy sea lion you'll see on the rock, Gerald's whole ambition in life is to do what? Get on the rock. Why does he want to hang out on the rock? Because that's where the cool sea lions hang out. And they don't want Gerald on the rock. So sometimes you kind of feel like that if you think, gosh, if they would only say something, but how do I do that? Like I don't want to oversell to them. I don't want to be annoying. But yet they kind of ignored my email, so they must be, I must be not worthy to interact with them. And so what I want to tell you is that to get on the rock, there are a lot of things you can do. Now, in the case of Gerald, there was one time that they let Gerald on the rock. What did he do? Do you remember? He helped him with something. What was it? Yep, that's right. So they said, Gerald, go get the red pail. And so he goes and he performs an act of service. And service allowed them into this coveted circle. That's another clue we'll be talking about. All right. So a lot of us feel like if we just do our thing, we will get discovered. I'm going to burst your bubble. That's not how, it just doesn't work that way. Like I know it's the whole American thing of rags to riches, and I was just, grinding it out, and then all of a sudden someone saw me and I became an instant celebrity and an instant star overnight. That happens so infrequently that I would not bank on that. So, how do you get discovered? Here's another great tweet. How do you get discovered? You have to make discovery happen, right? And so what that means is that look at all of the work that you're doing with your business right now. Chances are you're doing way too much work in your business and not enough work on your business. And so that's another foundational point. Now let's talk about the difference between authority and influence. All right, help me out. Lovely lady in the light blue here, I'm calling on you. How would you define authority? And don't let my silly images sway your opinion. Like, how would you define authority?
Education and experience.
Okay, great. Anything else on authority? Like, what does that mean? When you think of someone who has a lot of authority, what does that mean to you? What's that? Trust. Okay, so you built up some trust for that person. Good. Anything? What's that? Maybe prominence. Okay, good. Now, compare that now with influence. Now, what is, again, my example, don't let my images here dissuade you here. Okay, what I'm talking about, this is maybe authority with no influence, and this is probably influence with absolutely zero authority. But for some reason, that's where they are. Okay, but influence, how would you define influence? What is that? What do you think? Denim. Get people to do something. Why? How? How does that work? Persuasion through trust. Okay. In today's social media world, influence. What's influence? You want to be okay with the cool kids. All right. And so today, like largely when we think of influencers, we do think of social media. And so even though, I mean, influencers kind of span everywhere, but on social media, what does it generally look like if you're an influencer on social media? You have a lot of followers. How do you get a lot of followers? What's that? People talking about you. Yeah, people talking about you? Okay, good. All right, so authority plus influence together, I believe, is kind of that sweet spot. Like, remember when LEK was talking about all these great, all this great work that you can do with brands? I've worked with a lot of brands because in the consumer space of helping people save money and make buying decisions, I've really established, I know way too much. I'm the guy who can get you a deal, hookup, or upgrade on anything. Who have I told about the hotel thing? How to get free hotel upgrades? Honestly, pick my brain about that afterwards. It's nuts, and it works. I get concierge all the time. I get the suites all the time. That's my authority. I know how to do that. Influence is because I've done it a lot in front of a lot of audiences, and now I'm kind of respected in certain circles. All right. So again, wanting to grow all of this authority and influence, you're like, oh, this sounds like so much work. I don't have time. I'm we design flowers, and I'm spending all my time designing flowers. Well, you're getting kind of caught up in the E-Myth, Michael Gerber trap, where you're working in your business and not on your business. So what I would recommend, write this down. This is really important. You could tweet this too. The two most important things, I believe, if your number one ambition is to grow your business, that is your mission, is to grow your business. The two best activities, I believe, as the business owner, and you can outsource this if you're scared or if you want, but I'd recommend you don't do this. Number one, you network with influencers. Because influencers have the ability to wave their magic wand and make you fabulously successful. They really do. Number two, serve large audiences. You got that? So number one, network with influencers. Number two, serve large audiences with no expectation of return, just give. And if you do that enough, you are going to create an army of raving fans who trust you. They know you. They really like you because you give them so much value, and they trust you because you kind of know what you're talking about by now. Okay, so let's talk about how you can make more money. It really comes down to a great product and a lot of exposure. You can have the best product in the world, but if nobody knows about you, you're not making sales. Similarly, it's great to have exposure, but if you don't have a great product, then people are going to kind of figure that out, and your reputation is going to go through the tank. All right. So let's talk specifically now about how we can get your website to earn more money. It's exposures times your conversion rate times retention. HubSpot was just up there. They had some great ideas, some great tools on how you can really improve things like exposure and conversion. Certainly, these are variables in your mathematical formula that you want to constantly be working on. And so, because again, 1,000 times 0.00001 is not a whole lot of money. So we want to be working on all of this at the same time. All right. So if you have the opportunity to be in front of audiences, your validation goes way up. There's something magical. I'll give you a great story. So when I was in second grade and my brother was in preschool, the snow was melting in Appleton, Wisconsin. Anybody know where that is? Well, and so I was just pushing my little preschool brother in a stroller because all the snow had melted, and so you could use the sidewalks again. And so I was doing that on my roller skates, pushing my brother in the stroller, and all of a sudden this car slams on the brakes, jumps out, and with his camera starts taking pictures of us. And I'm like, okay, this is, first off, stranger danger. Secondly, he told us he was with the newspaper. I'm like, oh, that's kind of cool. And so now about a week later, all of a sudden, like, the phone's ringing off the hook at our house, and my parents are like, we need to go down to the grocery store because you're on the front page of the newspaper. And like the whole city block was like all abuzz. They were all coming over to visit, and like everybody was like so excited that the Elledge boys were on the front page of the newspaper. And my parents were so proud. They brought, they bought like 10 copies of the newspaper, sent it to all our relatives. Like, it's still a thing to be recognized, and I call this third-party validation. And when people see you on that stage, your sales funnel doesn't even need to be that good because they're already drawn to you. All right, so when I do my thing on TV, the exposure is pretty good. So here is like just some real numbers. This is our page views on Savings Angel. We're not like gangsta or whatever in terms of like traffic, but we do all right. And so you see that nice little spike down there? Well, that's when I go and do my weekly Fox 35 hit. A lot of people see that, and I say, I'm not on there, and I'm not telling them, hey, go to Savings Angel and buy my thing. I'm like, go to Savings Angel where there's more free stuff, right? Because they're still at the top of the funnel. Okay, this is such an important point. Media audiences don't know, like, and trust you a whole lot yet. They're still at the top of the sales funnel. So what this means is that you need to honor where the relationship is at. Don't sell to people who don't know and like you yet. They don't trust you. It's awkward. It's like asking someone to marry you on a first date. It's creepy. Right? So don't do that. It's the person at a conference that, when you say, hey, so what do you do? And they just go into like auto robo sales mode. Isn't that icky? Like, we don't like that. Don't do that. So, what's that? Yeah, LinkedIn. Oh gosh, yeah. So social media, they're terrible. So I do this because those are our enrollments up at the top. And so on a day-to-day basis, get 10 to 20 enrollments, and then look at those huge spikes. We get, like in some cases, more than, 50 to 70 enrollments on Tuesday mornings. So, I kind of love exposure, and I've been doing this a lot. So when you start, and again, I know that there's going to be a presentation where they're really getting into some great tactical advice about approaching the media, what to say, that sort of thing, and that's very critical information. I'm here to talk about authority. All right, let me give you a great example. And you're going to be like, okay, Josh, I've drunk the Kool-Aid. I believe you, okay, because you've all experienced this. You get an email, and you don't really know the person who emailed you, right? That email is going to go into one of four categories. A, ooh, this is absolutely an important person. I'm going to respond to them right away. Because like, oh my gosh, I can't even believe they emailed me. Like, it's exciting. So you immediately respond to them. Okay, that's an A person. B is, okay, I'm busy right now. Like, oh, this is cool. I'm going to respond to this later. And then you do. Like, because we're all busy. Like, we're entrepreneurs. We're doing our thing. C is, I can't talk to this person right now like I want to. I'm probably going to do it later. But then you kind of forget about it. Like a lot of people, like when you email influencers, believe it or not, C is a very popular category. It's not that they don't like you. It's just there's some things that didn't move you into A and B. And D is no thanks, delete, delete, delete. I have no time to give the Saudi king $1 million, blah, 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 whatever it is, right? It's just like you don't want to come across. So my job is to make sure that you are always an A or a B. Would that be nice? So what would you do if you knew that you could not fail? What would you do differently in your business? Please write that down, because that is such a powerful question. If you knew it was impossible to fail, what would you do? So if your goal is to reach out and work with influencers, I want you to be in an A or a B. So how do we do that? Well, I'm going to say, hold on. Don't start spamming, and don't start spamming journalists. Don't start spamming influencers, because I want you to fix a few things first. And this is where I'm going to start having you do a lot of action items. All right? By the way, what time do we get done? What time does this session end? It's, I know we're doing good so far. I just got such valuable stuff. What's that?
Probably like 10:30.
Well, not probably. I don't need it probably. I need it for sure. 10:15. All right, we got 20 minutes. This is really exciting. Okay, so the first thing I want you to do is fix your darn website. Okay, let me tell you the things that influencers, by the way, I feel so bad for buy stocks. I don't think it's up anymore, but I've been using this as an example for a little while now, and I'm like, man, these guys ever like, I'm sure this isn't their live site anymore. Look, they still have a counter down there. Anybody ever have a website with a counter on it? You are old. That's old school. That's serious. Like, you are a veteran in this space. If you had a website with a counter, I had one. I had a couple. My first website, Josh's Benevolent Webpage, was my first website. So anyway, so let's talk about the things you need to do on your website today. Number one, you need a press kit. What is a press kit? It's an executive summary to influencers and journalists that it is really easy to work with me. See, here's my bio written in third person. Here's a shorter version of my bio. You can go to my website, upnpr.com/Josh, and just copy mine. You could use, honestly, an okay press kit is way better than no press kit. At the very least, you need a bio, and you need information about your product, and you need maybe some assets, maybe some where have you been before, okay? That's what you need. A couple other things on your website. If you have not updated your theme, first off, if it's not responsive, I can tell you why you're losing so much money. Please. 70% of internet traffic is on mobile. So if you have not updated your website in the past 2 years, it's time. Okay? Design standards change, and what was cool a few years ago, it's no longer cool. All right? And I want you to be cool. Why? Because your website is an indicator of your authority. And it's going to determine whether or not you're an A, B, C, or D. Again, I told you my job is to make sure you're an A or a B. Your website, if your website's kind of crappy, then you're not going to be an A or B. It's a red flag. I judge people, you judge people, we all do it, okay? Another thing, scroll down to the very bottom of your front page where it says copyright. What year does it say? You better. Like with certain themes, like you don't even have to update it anymore. Okay, I cannot tell you how often I still see like copyright 2015. It's like, it's an indicator to me that it's like, we're kind of playing at business here. We're just kind of, seeing what happens here. We're not manning, it's like you don't have people manning all the stations. So please make sure that that's updated. I mean, we're almost in 2018 now, all right? You should at least get up to 2017. Another thing, if I do a Google search for you, what do I find? I don't know if this is for real or not, but Adam Evers, this is what came up. Probably not so great. And so how do you improve your vanity search results? How do you improve your Google search results? Okay? You need to do a lot of service, and you need to help and work with each other, right? Just honestly, you find out someone who's a blogger, this is what I want you to say. Because has anybody ever gotten the email, raise your hand when I finish asking this question, that says, I would love to guest blog on your blog, Dear Sir or Madam. I forgot to begin, because it always starts with Dear Sir or Madam, I would love to guest blog on your blog. All I ask for is 3, 7, 20 do follow links back to my website. Anybody ever gotten that email before? Bloggers, what do you do with those? Yeah. Who the hell do you think you are to go into someone else's house and start making demands of what they're supposed to give you? It's not a win-win. When you go into someone's house and you reach out to them, you are a guest. And as a guest, you need to honor the rules of the home. And you need to let them know what you can do for them without any expectation of return. This is a great script. You ready? I'm going to tell you how you can be a guest blogger, and it's going to work like 50% of the time or better. First off, I always like to form a relationship first before a cold email. We're going to talk about the platform I use for that, okay? But the email itself should probably go something like this. All right, let's see. Lee. Yes, Lee, we're going to pretend. Lee has a blog. Lee, I've been reading your blog for the past month. Like legit, you have to be honest, right? And you have to be authentic about this. And if you're honest, authentic, and you truly love the work that Lee is doing, and you love his content, then you're going to hit this out of the park. Lee, I've been reading your blog for the past month. Like, I love this article. Like, you and I, like, we're like total soulmates when it comes to military separation issues or, mil-spouse stress or whatever it is. I'm such a fan of the work that you're doing. You approach them as a fan. Okay, that doesn't necessarily mean that they're like way up here on a pedestal, but you need to professionally respect the work that they are doing. They're a professional at this. Then you say something to the effect of, it would be, I happen to be a subject matter expert on this one very specific thing, right? It would be an honor if I could ever contribute content in any way. And then this is the most important line. You ready? I hope you're writing this down, because this is like decades of research here. And we've boiled this down. I don't need any links back. I don't need any credit. I don't need any promotion. It's really just a way of saying thank you, because I've really been touched by the work that you've been doing. If you got that email, how would you respond to that? Unless, and I get that sometimes it just doesn't fit in the editorial calendar. I get that, right? But if it could, is that someone that you would potentially work with? Okay, when you approach influencers, you have to walk that line of starting off by professionally respecting and appreciating their work. Nobody, write this down, and this is a good tweet, I'm telling you, okay. Nobody throws away fan mail. I don't. If you start, I promise you, here's what's good. If you tweet something about me, and especially if you say, that dude's pretty funny, I guarantee not only am I going to retweet that, I'm not funny, but, but it's one of those things if I could, I would be, I would love to be funny. And I also promise you, every one of those tweets, I'm going to send to my wife, and she's going to be oh, great. Guess what I'm going to have to deal with for the next couple weeks? Mr. Big Shot thinks he's a comedian. So people love that, right? So approach them as a fan. Again, you don't have to totally fangirl, fanboy them, but again, professional respect. Okay. And then finally, so 1, 2, 3, website, social media presence. And by the way, just by working with a lot of content producers, you will improve your Google search results substantially. Oh, I forgot to mention this. You're probably thinking, well, wait a minute, I'm going to spend all this work to produce content and no attribution whatsoever? Are you kidding, Josh? That's a waste of my time. Okay, number one, what did you just form with someone with influence? What did you just form with them? A relationship. I didn't go to school for PR. I went to school and studied family therapy and family science. And I actually think that that's flavored me in a very good way. It's all about relationships. It's all about relationships. So if they are a professional and you say, I don't need this, you don't need to do this, what is a professional going to do anyway? They're going to give you attribution, but you can't ask for it. Those are the rules. Okay? Please remember this and apply this for life. I'm telling you, it will forever change your life. Oh, Twitter. Okay, Twitter, you're probably thinking, I don't know, half of you are probably I don't get Twitter, it's not very fun. No, it's not. But Twitter is an amazing communications platform. So don't think about it like you do Instagram or Facebook. It's different. Twitter allows you to reach out and connect with anybody you want. So what that means is you should probably invest a little bit of time in it. So, matter of fact, on our blog, we did a long-form article did two of them. One was how to get verified on Twitter. Let me tell you, I got verified on Twitter, and it really opens up a lot of doors for you. As long as you've been publishing for a while and you can communicate that, you can get verified on Twitter. Also, you need to make sure that you're following best practices. So you could pull up my Twitter profile and again, just kind of look at, oh, okay, I see he's doing this. Kind of has like a little call to action in his bio. Oh, like his image, like his face is looking directly, his avatar is like his face, not like the company logo. People love doing business with people, not things and inanimate objects. So use Twitter as a personal platform and really invest in boosting that. And we're gonna run out of time, so make sure you talk to me here at this event, and I'd be happy to share with you all my Twitter strategies. LinkedIn, I used to joke that LinkedIn was just for a place where you'd update your resume. LinkedIn is the most amazing platform in the world for B2B business. And it's a place that when someone does a Google search for you, is likely going to come up in the first page or so of the search results. So what that means is, again, just go to my LinkedIn and copy my formula. Honestly, like totally rip it off. Because we have, I brought someone on the team. She is amazing at doing LinkedIn profile makeovers. And we have a long form article absolutely free as well. So just go through and seriously, you cannot overinvest your time in a Twitter profile makeover. If you do any business with other businesses, you cannot overinvest on Twitter or LinkedIn. Write that down. Okay. So, is your website converting? Hopefully you have good calls to action on your website. It's very simple. If I go to your website and you have like 10 calls to action, forget it. If I go to your website and your big call to action is join our newsletter. Who loves newsletters? Please remove that language from your site. People don't join newsletters because there's no value in a newsletter. But if you say, here is a download that has like our free report, it's got the 10 critical things that you must do today to improve your conversion rate on your website or to have a better relationship with your husband, whatever it is, like that stuff, like crap, I need that. Like I need to know what that information is. So yes, I will exchange my email address, your audience's email address. That is their currency at the beginning. And now, as you get going, maybe the relationship will turn into a transactional relationship. But at the beginning, that's what they have to give you, and you better start by entering into that relationship with something far more valuable than them giving up their email address. It's a lead magnet. So look into that, and you should have one. I'm going to let the presentation later kind of talk about interacting with and what to say with actual journalists and working with the media. But I do want to let you know that I've been talking a lot about just influencers in general. I do want to let you know that for the most part, the rules are the same. We helped somebody get on with a YouTube celebrity, 2.5 million subscribers, and within a couple of months, I'm pretty sure they did close to 6 figures in sales. It really can make a big, big, big deal. And they just did content together. It wasn't even like a sales thing. It was just like collaborating. And I'm not going to get into this because I'm sure they're going to get into this. Like sometimes you might be like, well, what do we talk about? All right, don't sell. I'll just say don't sell, and instead make sure that you are bringing value to people. Again, Harrow, at a risk of not knowing if they're going to talk about this, come talk to me afterwards. I'll tell you all my favorites. Just help a reporter out. Go Google that, and it's free service you can use. And the biggest thing that you'll get from Harrow, I will say this, is that it allows you to build a lot of relationships from journalists who need your help today. It's a great way. So you do a solid for a journalist or a reporter, an influencer, and guess what they will do in the future? They'll scratch your back. But you have to start by going into that relationship with you being of service. So again, these things I'm going to let them get into for sure. I will say that, and just because this is so critical, if you say, well, Josh, I'm really not doing a whole lot of media per se. I've been in the anybody do a podcast? Like you're hosting a podcast. Anybody been a guest on a podcast? Raise your hand. Okay, good. Okay, podcasts are such a great place to start because it's really easy to get booked on a podcast. Start with the smaller ones, start with the ones that are very niche to what you do, and they're going to say yes. That's going to improve your Google search results, and it's going to give you practice and experience in being interviewed because your first few interviews are going to suck. They just are. So if you're nervous that you're like, I'm going to do a bad job, yeah, you probably are. I mean, you can't, like we all want to, I will say this, like in terms of media training, like the best thing you can do is practice and do like, practice like just talking it out to your steering wheel. But and maybe just like brush up just before you go live, but don't over rehearse like for the hour before you go live. That's like the worst thing you could do because then you sound like robot and it's just like it's not very good value. Let me just give you a couple of examples of people that have really, really taken this seriously. Harry Campbell, the rideshare guy, used to be an engineer in California. And so he started a podcast and a blog about Uber and Lyft in the rideshare industry and helping drivers make more money. And so I said, Harry, you're sitting on a gold mine. And the reason why is because right now, when the media wants to do a story or influencers want to get an expert in the rideshare industry, who do they call? I don't know. They call Uber and Lyft, I guess. And Uber and Lyft may not want to participate in that story. But you can become a voice for all rideshare drivers. And he was like, well, that seems a little audacious. I'm like, yeah. But listen, I'm telling you right now, I've all commissioned you, okay? You are an expert in your field, and you are on your way to thought leadership if you are not there already. So if you have the imposter syndrome, like I have had many times in my life, I give you permission to get over that. Because you now know in what you do, you know more than 99.9% of the population, and if you're willing to teach, that's all it takes. You are now a subject matter expert. Now don't be going, I read a book on brain surgery, and so now I'm author. Like there are some things, like you probably need the technical knowledge, otherwise they're gonna call you out. But generally, like for most of us, like you've been doing your thing for a while, you are authorized. Like I used to worry like the PR police were gonna arrest me or something like that, because I was talking about PR, and I didn't go to school for PR. Like I did it in the Navy for 5 years, and I've been in the media 2,000 times, but still imposter syndrome was like creeping in. And so again, no more imposter syndrome for anybody in this room. So anyway, started getting in the media a lot and was able to walk away from his full-time job within 2 months' time because he started getting written up in NPR, CNET, Forbes. And how did he do this? Just follow what they talk about later. Like I gave you the foundation stuff. Now the 1-2 punch, Fred and those guys are gonna come in and they will tell you like the tactical, like how to say and like how to find them and that sort of thing. Robert Farrington, the college investor, good buddy of mine I saw last night, kind of really got serious about his media work. 8 media placements in 1 week. That's not bad. Okay, you can absolutely do this. Okay, he's a blogger, produces a podcast as well, and that's it. Just happens to know his thing. But he's not spending all of his time, behind his computer. You cannot build a huge business behind your computer. You're just going to have to get out there, right? And then finally, Mark Ferguson, 55 media placements in 1 month alone. Again, just doing the deal. Worked on his authority, and then from there, had the natural influence. So let's review, just to make sure, I gave you what I said I was gonna give you. How to grow your business with big media exposure? Yeah. How to grow your authority and influence? Yeah, we talked about that. First steps you need to do to get started today, I gave you action items on your social media, your website, and what you're gonna do now in connecting with other content producers, because when an influencer does a Google search and they start like, am I gonna respond to this email? I want them to respond to you, and that's what they're going to look for. Don't commit the cardinal sin with influencers and media. That is overselling your stuff. Just serve. Especially your first couple segments that you do, just give it all away. And sure, you could tell stories about your product or service, but don't sell. Number 6, how to work with anyone you like, just use Twitter. Honestly, you could save yourself a lot of money and just use the platform. Number 1 job of an entrepreneur is what? What is it? Remember? Orange, how about you? Huh? No. Max is to? No, I appreciate that. That was a nice plug. Thank you. I'll pay you later. The number one job of a business owner is to grow your business. You don't have any other jobs. Delegate all that other stuff. I want you making money, and you're not going to make money until you're doing a lot of growing. Okay, look, free gift. We used to sell this for $1,200. It's yours absolutely free for coming to Millblog. So that coupon code, don't be sharing that on the social medias. That's only for Millblogging people. All right, and also, if you see me here today, I am in service. Okay, $0 consulting rates, all as long as I'm here. If you're here at FinCon as well, I am here completely 100% pro bono. All right, that's the free gift. Don't share that with those outside this room. It's only for people in the room.